Hello, I'm Dr. Sha-Rhonda Green. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I have been practicing since 2004. And today I want to share with you about unmasking the Superwoman Syndrome and also talking about embracing vulnerability as a Black woman. How do you embrace vulnerability, and what in the heck is vulnerability? Like, that sounds like I don't know about that. So it's important in building authentic relationships for you to be able to show up as your authentic self and living your life wholeheartedly. And you might say, like, I don't know who I am, but therapy. If you go to therapy, go to therapy. That might help you to walk that out, to find out who you are. What do you like? What do you enjoy? And even asking the question about what do I like may be unsettling, because as Black women, there's an expectation that your label, your resources, your talents, your skills, and gifts are to be given away and to be used for other people and used for other things. And so it's like, so what do I like? What do I want to do outside of caretaking and nurturing? So vulnerability is often misunderstood and stigmatized also in Black communities. And the reason why it's hard for us to trust is that there's a history of racism in this country that has monopolized, has extorted, has abused, has pillaged from the Black bodies and the minds of Black women. And Black women are constantly, even in 2024, I'm sorry, it's 2025, it's January 2025, even being scrutinized, even being policed about your hair, your nose, your eyebrows, your glasses, how you look, your body size, your body shape, the texture of your hair, the colorism, everything. People counting your money, people wanting to know where you are, why are you eating that, what are you doing? And people around you are always policing everything about you. Why are you wearing those type of earrings? Why are you wearing your hair that way? I just don't understand it. Why is your hair different? And so there's this constant scrutiny of appearance, of thoughts, of mannerisms, and here I am talking about being vulnerable, right? That sounds incongruent. But a part of you being your authentic self is also embracing your vulnerabilities, also honoring your humanity. And Superwoman Syndrome continually perpetuates the myth that vulnerability is a weakness. And the reason why that is so is because if you think it is a weakness, if vulnerability is a weakness, guess what you're going to keep being? You're going to keep being strong so that everybody can benefit from your amazingness. So vulnerability is to show up and to be seen. It's doing some of the things that feel a little bit uncomfortable, but also feel like a little bit safe at the same time. It's about stretching that muscle for yourself, not to put on a show for anybody, but to practice with yourself about how you practice being vulnerable, having courage, having self-awareness, having understanding what your needs are for relationships, any type of relationship, and having boundaries and embracing your imperfections, your fears and your doubts. Perfectionism, Superwoman syndrome, because it doesn't allow you to be vulnerable, or doesn't allow you to have faults. But excellence and perfectionism are two different things. When someone is asking you to be perfect, that means that it's got to be 100% all the time. Excellence is doing things in a way, in a manner that allows you to deliver your best effort and your best work. So Superwoman Syndrome continues to make Black women hide their emotions and their weaknesses. And when we hide our emotions and our weaknesses, that leads to emotional numbness. Like, you don't feel anything. You just, like, as an inanimate object, you feel depleted, overwhelmed. You feel unseen. You feel unheard. You feel disgusted. You feel humiliated. You feel sad. You feel heaviness. You feel disgust. You feel whatever is going on in your throat. You feel like you can't breathe. And so just over and over, society, family, cultural, religious norms discourage some of those norms discourage and perpetuate Superwoman Syndrome. Media portrayal of Black women as being strong, resilient, and selfless, and the Black woman that comes into the family and makes everything all right, and everybody is like got it together, and she's got the energy and the vibe to take people away from their gloom. Black women are taught to prioritize other people's needs over their own. and also further reinforcing that vulnerability is weakness. Cultural norms like the strong Black woman trope that I talked about, and other tropes that are told about us that discourage us to be vulnerable and emphasize the importance of just resilience and self-reliance. Like, you got to depend on ourselves, but everybody gets to depend on us. Some religious teachings may emphasize the importance of like self-sacrifice and humility, which can be misinterpreted and discouraging to vulnerability. The historical trauma, slavery, racism, oppression, this cultural narrative that reinforces and emphasizes resilience and strength over vulnerability. So when we emotionally numb, that dehumanizes us. It makes us an inanimate object. And being strong means that you can take anything. And so dehumanizing you means you can take anything that I put on you. We are forced to hide our true selves, suppress your emotions, making it difficult to experience joy, being like on edge, like anxiety, like, oh my gosh, the other shoe is going to drop off. Or if I don't do this, did I do this? Did I do this right? And you're like checking off lists in your brain all of the time because you're thinking about 5 or 10 or 15 steps ahead. You're being hyper vigilant. That's a trauma response. You're being hyper independent. You can be the only person that you can depend on because so many people are depending on you. Other people won't do the things that you do for them, for you. So when we are reduced to our strength and resilience, that strips away the complexity and the nuance and the beauty and the individuality and the intersectionality of who you are. Mental health consequences, chronic suppression and numbing can PTSD, post-traumatic syndrome, I want to say post-traumatic slave disorder, it's post-traumatic slave syndrome, and also post-traumatic stress disorder. So having being hypervigilant, looking around the corner all the time, inability to sleep, having nightmares, having physical sensations as if what happened to you, a year ago or whenever is like actually happening right now. Sights and sounds and smells, you're being like you're always like in a state of hyper arousal. So I want to present to you about embracing your vulnerability and how you can break free from that and give yourself self-compassion, give yourself self-care, love on yourself in this process, and just take care of yourself. There was a time in my life that I was doing a lot of things. I was a mother, I was a wife, I was in school full time, I was in private practice, I was like grinding and hustling out. And that is how that's how I learned how to cope with stress. I worked more. And so that is also a trauma response. When you have to have 50,000 jobs and you come from sometimes a poverty background, and sometimes not even a poverty background, but when you use work as a way to cope, that is some emotional numbing that's happening. And I can attest to that. And when you do that, when you emotionally numb and you're working 60, 80 hours a week, you are further embracing like those, definitely trying to work through those systems of oppression. And also you're trying to cope because that's the only thing that people see. They only see the fruit of your labor. They only see you giving more of yourself. And so you gotta make a decision about drawing the line and choosing yourself and prioritizing and centering yourself in a way that you get to break free from this cycle and allow yourself to reside in the beauty and the resilience of who you are. So embracing your vulnerability and breaking free is self-reflection and journaling, taking time to reflect on your thoughts, your feelings, and experiences. Writing down your reflections can also help you to process and release emotions. And, journal that might not, you say, oh gosh, like I don't want to write. You can color, you can do video journals for yourself so you can see yourself talking to yourself. Like that is loving and supporting of yourself and acknowledging that you are having an emotional experience. Setting boundaries, saying no. No is a complete sentence. No is a complete sentence. There's no explanation to that. And I know that is different from when typically when you've experienced some type of trauma, there's people pleasing that happens. When you're always focused on thinking about how this is going to affect another person, then you get talked out of your no. You talk yourself out of your no, and you talk yourself out of trusting yourself. When you do not show up for yourself, you are building a relationship with yourself that says, I abandon my needs first. I abandon myself. And so to have vulnerability, you have to have trust. You have to have trust with yourself. You have to build that relationship. You have to build that esteem and build yourself from the inside out. And so setting boundaries, telling people no, and let them figure out. And it's also like you're enabling them. And how dare you not let them find solutions for their issues? And you've been trying to help them for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, even like 30 minutes of your precious time. If grown folks are not able to have some independent living skills, they have probably the same types of options and resources that you have, but you've been saving them. You've been saving them from their consequences. You've been saving them for the choices in their life. How dare you not prioritize yourself? So prioritize your own needs and desires and wants. The trip that you wanted to take, the outfit that you wanted to make, but you're going and giving gas money and going and rescuing folks or whatever that's running through their money, and they want to come run through yours. Boundaries. Set boundaries. Say no and walk away. Whisk yourself away. Say no. Send a text. Say no. Block them for a day. Block them for a week. Let them call on their higher power. Stop being their God in their life. Please stop doing that. Save yourself first. Seek support. Surround yourself with people who support and uplift you. Seek out therapists, support groups, online communities. Practice self-care. Engage in activities that nourish your mind, body, and soul. Exercise, move, meditate, do creative pursuits. There's probably something that you like when you take time to just be to yourself. There might be things that you look around in your space that you're like, gosh, like I really wanted to paint that. I really wanted to do that. I really wanted to learn how to play a guitar. I really wanted to learn how to swim. I really wanted to learn how to paint. I really wanted to do that boudoir photo shoot. I really wanted to do that. When you start listing and thinking about the things that you can do to take care of yourself, and you start looking at the amount of money and time that you've given away for people, you could have probably done that 5 times over by now. You deserve your best self. Reclaim your emotions. Allow yourself to feel and express your emotions rather than suppressing them. Practice emotional intelligence and develop emotional regulation strategies. Regulation strategies. Learn how to regulate. Take a deep breath. Feel your feelings. What am I feeling? Identify the feeling. Where am I feeling the feeling in my body? What are my feelings trying to tell me? What is it that I need? How can I take care of myself? Start putting I in your sentence. What do I need? What does she need? What do I need? Whatever your name is, put it in that sentence when you get ready to cash out somebody that $40. What do you need? When you get ready to go run and do something for somebody, you take a pause and say, what else do I need in this moment? Challenging societal expectations. Recognize the challenges and the unrealistic expectations placed on you. So that's where the stress is. You're trying to rise to something that's unrealistic, and that stresses you the heck out. It dysregulates your emotions. It releases stress hormones. Your blood pressure is up. You want to eat candy and sugar and all those types of things to try to soothe you, because you're elevating your cortisol levels to a point that they don't know where else to go but to try to figure out how to soothe. And that's okay. This is just to give you information about recognizing and naming the things so that you can be aware of it. And you're like, wait a minute, I'm stressed out. Am I being met with an unrealistic expectation? Ask yourself that. The next time you feel stressed, when you feel distress and disgust and anger and rage, Is there an unrealistic expectation on you based on how you know you have to navigate this world as the complex and unique and beautiful person that you are? Engage in critical thinking and media literacy to resist harmful narratives. When you recognize those narratives, you have to have a counter narrative. Like when you see those images about colorism, about texturism, about how you're too loud, you're too big, you're too colorful, you know what the counter narrative of that is? I am enough. I'm amazing. There is no one like me. I am the blueprint. You say those things to yourself to talk to yourself. And cultivating self-compassion. Treat yourself with kindness, understanding, and patience, and practice self-forgiveness and acknowledge your humanity. This is not about perfection. This is about progress. This is about compassion. This is about when you mess up, when you drop the ball on yourself, is to ask yourself for forgiveness and put yourself on a path that you can continue to build trust with yourself, that you can continue to come home to yourself, that yourself will be the place that you love, that you create, that you know that there's safety. So by acknowledging the challenges, by acknowledging the cultural and religious factors and things that happen, you can break free from the cycle of Superwoman Syndrome and reclaim your humanity, reclaim your vulnerability and your emotional expression. I'm Dr. Sha-Rhonda Green. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I have been practicing since 2004. I want to share some information in the bottom with you. If you want to find out more about me, check out my website. I also have some books on Amazon that I wrote a couple of years ago, and I have some affirmations on SoundCloud. So check me out. I hope that this was helpful to you, and share your comments in the bottom. Like how have you been mistreated? How have you been struggling to say your no? How are some ways that what do you say to yourself to love on yourself? I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Have an amazing day.